Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Virginia School of Traditional Arts. Today we're working on a special project. This is a bench for the Southern Virginia Botanical Garden. And what I have done is I've laid out, this is going to be the back of the bench, and I've laid out the size, the dimensions that I wanted with the straight lines here and here. And today we're about 40 inches by 24, something like that, 22 maybe. And then I have chosen some artwork to kind of inspire me. I like this butterfly and I like the flower, and so it's just something I got off the internet, and we're not going to copy it identical. We're just going to use it for inspiration because I did like the way they had done a few things. Like I like this leaf here on the butterfly, and I like the flower the way it was kind of shaped a little bit. Alright, and so what I have done is I have taken that and just free-handed on our table here in chalk. This is the flower over here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. Am I counting right? 6 petals. And then we have 3 large leaves. These are big leaves. And then this is the actual butterfly. And the next step is you take, or I took pieces of paper, and I just laid them. I laid the paper on top of my drawing, and I basically just drew around that best I could by lifting up the edge of the paper and looking under it, and just kind of getting the scale of it. I knew what I wanted it to look like. I just wanted to keep it in scale, and so we got several sizes of petal on this, and the same with the leaves. There were several of these. I think these two are pretty much the same, but this one was much longer. And then I took it over and I cut it out with the torch. Got quite all the leaves done, but I've got the petals for the flower, so we'll lay those out so you can see them. Make sure I'm doing it right, like this, like that. That'll go up there. Doesn't matter. Like that. Something to that effect. Something like that. And I'm going to make a circle out of a piece of round bar right here, or not quite a circle, probably an oval shape. And that's what these will weld to. And we're going to forge these. We're going to put some marks in these so it looks like it's ridges in the flowers themselves, the petals themselves. And we'll do some kind of center. I don't know if we're going to do a raised center, a poked out center. Since this is the back of the bench, we can go backwards with items, but we don't want to poke a whole lot of stuff out the front because somebody might want to lean against it. So we want to make it, the front of it as flat as we can, one plane here in the front, but we can put dimension going backwards. It shouldn't be a problem. But we'll work on that. And here's one of the big leaves. This one's not quite all the way ground, but it will do something like that. And so the next step that we'll do is we'll put in our marks here, our design to show our veining of our leaf. So this leaf is curving up, so we'd make the design of the vein curve up, and then we'd make the veins this direction, maybe 3. Oh, even my leaf. And this one probably needs to be above that. See how this one's lower than that one? I try to be consistent with that because it makes it look right. Don't mean it is right, but it makes it look right. So something like that. And we do something similar over here on these pedals. Maybe do a couple of 3 lines, and the lines will have curve to them. That way, it gives it, looks like it's giving it movement. As far as the butterfly and all these little curly Q pieces, we'll make those out of either round bar or square stock and weld them together. And the butterfly will basically be see-through, and it'll also be applied to the top of this flower. See, as you can see, the butterfly disappeared under our leaves. It'll actually be the other way. The butterfly will be on top. That butterfly will help hold this structure together. We may have to run a few viney shapes through the back of it to help hold it together. We'll see what it looks like when we get the pieces, the major elements made, to see how to best hold it together. But this bench will have arms on it. It'll come out this direction. The plan at the time is to put a seat on the bench made out of a cedar, big chunk of cedar log, and we'll cut that plank out with the chainsaw and sand it up best we can, and get it all good and smooth. And we're using Eastern red cedar. That's a type of wood that's good for outside, and it'll be a green log, so we expect it to crack, but we'll try doing some things to minimize that cracking, and we'll show you that. But this is what we're working on at the moment. This bench is a tribute to a young lady that was a intern at the Southern Virginia Botanical Garden. She was one of my former students when I taught at the high school, and unfortunately she has passed away, and we're gonna dedicate this bench to her memory, and we're gonna put it inside our children's music garden, so that people can appreciate this and remember her. Once we get the grinder marks in here, the veins of the leaves and the texture on the petals, we'll take them and put them in the forge and put some shape to them, because a flat leaf to me doesn't look like a leaf at all, even though it's got the veins and everything. So we're gonna do that next. We're gonna put that in the show you how I grind these. As you can see, I've got a board, just a little 2x screwed to the bottom, and like a 2x6 here, and it's in my vise, and I've got it at a slope so it's more comfortable for me to use. I've got my vise grip on here, and I'm just going to cut these lines. I got this the other day. It's a little Milwaukee 90-degree grinder here, and it's cordless. Seems to do very well. You can control this. I've been using the larger 4.5-inch electric grinders, and they're a little hard to control. They go so fast it skips around. So let's see if we can get this to follow these lines. One thing I don't like. So overall, not too bad. That looks pretty good. We'll do the rest of them. Alright, we've got our pieces marked. Just ground in these little marks. I use this Milwaukee, this is a 12 volt Yeah, 12 volt cordless 90-degree grinder polisher thing. And I know this is probably a bigger wheel than it's supposed to have on it, really. But not impressed. Not impressed at all. It took me 3 or 4 times as long. It is more controllable than my normal. Normally I use this. The problem with this is it's so heavy and unwieldy, it's hard to control it, and it wants to skate across my metal and not bite in. This one did do a good job of biting in, and it would have been fine, except it won't keep running. It goes a little while and it quits. I don't know if this thing's getting hot. I've got it on the lowest setting. It's got 4 settings on the back, but I don't know what the deal is with it. But very controllable, but not powerful, not consistent. You know, you get halfway through a line and then it quits on you. It's hard to start back in the same line. I like to just keep going. I don't want to have to go back and forth. And that's what you see in here. Some of these shiny marks is where it's skipped over, or I had to start again and I didn't quite get it in the line, that kind of deal. So learning curve on that. But anyway, we've got our pieces marked out. The next step with these pieces is going to be to forge them, to put 3-dimensional shape in them, both cup this way and that way for these, and then the leaves will just cup up and just more or less a leaf shape, but with the veins up. Next thing I'm going to work on is I'm going to take all this off and I'm going to work on my butterfly some, I think, and try to get some of the pieces for it made. And then I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to attach these things to. I drew all this, but don't really want a frame around it exactly. A lot of times I'll make gates or whatever and we'll put a frame all the way around it, but I'd just soon not do that on this particular one, make it more organic looking. But I may have to put some kind of a archway behind it or do something to give me some structure, because it's not going to want to hold together just a little piece here, a little piece there. And so that'll give me, if I have a kind of an arch kind of thing, I think that would probably give me enough to get it to attach to. But coming along.